Just imagine, my friends, how very little you would think of me, and rightly so, if I were to utilize this episode to run a victory lap over yesterday's episode. Well, be prepared. Good morning to you. Good Friday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way bright and early every weekday if you're into football and or baseball. I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Pirates in the same place that you found this. Penguins 3, Blue Jackets 2 last night at PPG Paints Arena. Yevgeny Malkin playing in front of Vladimir and Natalia for the first time in a long time with a couple of goals. Drew O'Connor with a really nice little snipe there for the winner. And who am I forgetting? Who else? Oh, right. The goaltender. Come on, tell me that yesterday's episode at least crossed your mind upon hearing that Alex Nedeljkovic was going to get a third consecutive start. Or upon hearing Mike Sullivan before the game explain that decision like this.
Well, we've liked the way Ned's played, and so I think it's important to understand that we're trying to put a lineup on the ice that gives us the best chance to win. We think he's played extremely well.
Well, good for our man Ned. I mean, he wasn't, spectacular. He wasn't the number one star or anything. 17 saves and 19 shots. The Blue Jackets are just so bad. But Ned started. Ned had the net. Ned knew that there had to be a W. The Penguins either trailed or had the minimum lead throughout, so he had to be on, and he was on, and he won. He got the result. And Tristan Jarry sat at the end of the bench. That's the state at this moment of the franchise's goaltending. They're in a spot where, at least from the mathematical perspective, they pretty much have to win out. And their view, certainly Sullivan's view, of the best option to win out is to ride Ned and to sit the guy with the 5-year, $27 million contract. Now, I'm not here to go over all of the various things with Jarry and Kyle Dubas signing him to that extension. I am here to say that what needs to happen next is that Ned needs to get signed. Goaltending in the National Hockey League is a lot more like musical chairs than any other position. There's only about, I guess if you had to count all of the quality backups in the league, there's probably only about 40 of them that you would trust in the world with any sustained stretch of hockey at the NHL level. That's it. Ned has moved his way, I think, into the top 30. There are times when he goes on a little bit of a roll that he might be even higher than that. I'm happy to have this individual in the fold. I'm happy to have him here regardless of who the other goaltender is. He has been, by every accounting, in that locker room, an immaculate teammate, a consummate non-complaining professional who gets the jobs done in practices, in skates, in games. That's why I pluralized jobs, because there's lots of those for someone in his role. But more important than any of that, his teammates and his coaches and his head coach trust him to compete at his hardest. For anybody who missed yesterday's truly revolutionary episode in The Art of Podcasting, I'm not very good at this, am I? Meaning this whole retroactive boasting thing. I'm just having fun. Don't anybody take this seriously. My feeling is that something happened on the Dallas/Denver trip where Sullivan soured on Jarry. It might have been one specific thing. It might have been Jarry barking at a teammate, at a younger teammate, after a mistake that really should kind of be expected from a younger teammate. It also might just have been that Sullivan said, wow, I got to do something else. This isn't happening. This isn't happening for me. I gotta go with the other guy. It might have just been that, but I think it was the first thing. So I said yesterday that if you see Ned get a third straight start, which hasn't happened since he's been here, you're going to know for sure that something's up. Now, as you heard, Sullivan tried to dance his way out of that one by just saying, I'm just going to go with a hot hand for now and whatever. And he could always get away with saying that because it's partly true. I just think there has to be a recognition from management that this goaltender, Nedeljkovic, is worth keeping under any circumstance, including if Joel Blomqvist were to come up and challenge for NHL work next season, which one would hope after an AHL All-Star season this year as a North American rookie he'll be able to do. When we come back, J1Q. Today's J1Q comes from Ryan, who says, DK, great call on Ned getting the starting goal. What happens to Jarry going forward? See, Ryan knows how to get a J1Q answered around here. What happens to Jarry going forward? I don't care. I'm trying to think of a tactful way to word that and just basically gave up. I just don't care. I'm not interested anymore in what he can do on some sporadic basis or in certain specific situations. I'm not interested anymore in his lining up across the ice from a Connor Hellebuck or an Andrei Vasilevsky and seeing that as some sort of challenge and then rising to it. He's done that consistently. That doesn't do anybody really any good outside of that moment. If he were a goaltender capable of getting you to, say, Game 7 of a series, that's nice. That's a wonderful trait to have. He could look down the rink and see, Igor Shesterkin or whatever and be a match for him. It doesn't do anything for you really over the course of an 82-game regular season, which, last I checked, happens to be the Penguins' current hurdle. He's inconsistent. He isn't getting the job done. His save percentage and his other figures are those of a backup. And man, are we ever past the prospect phase of his career. Maybe it's because he was a second rounder, didn't come around right away. Then he gets here and he has to play behind all of the various Stanley Cup ring bearing goaltenders in the fold. And well, he's had his turn now. He's been in the net in significant situations and for 4+ years. And this storyline doesn't really seem to change much, if it's changing at all. I brought up on this program multiple times before the NHL trade deadline that I felt Jarry should have been one of the guys sent out. There's always a need for goaltending in the NHL. Now, I can't know that Kyle Dubas would have had offers for Jarry. I can't know that there aren't teams that would have been put off by his contract. I can't know if there were even discussions to be able to go back and forth on, whether or not the Penguins could have picked up some of the salary or something like that to move him out. But I do feel now at this stage that this franchise would be better off without him than with him. Look, Joel Blomqvist could be nothing. He could be someone who came over from Finland, had himself a nice little run in the AHL for a year and he gets to Pittsburgh and just falls apart. That's not what I hear about him, but it could happen. And that's why, or one of many reasons why, I feel Alex Nedeljkovic should be signed. You want someone, you need someone in whom you can trust at the sport's most important position. The Penguins don't have that in Jarry. They do have that in Nedeljkovic, and they'd love to have that in Blomqvist. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Penguins. We'll be back Monday with another one.